If you're watching this video, you're either deploying to a wildfire, packing for the worst day in someone else's life, or you just really enjoy the smell of Nomex and overcooked MREs. In any case, you know how we do. You've definitely made the right choice by being here. If you've ever had Starlink's almost 8,000 satellites get blocked by an overly optimistic oak branch, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. 2025's wildfire season is, as usual, getting busier as we progress through the summer. As of today, we are sitting at a PL3 for the country, and it's about this time I start getting my gear together as I can anticipate a deployment coming soon. I've done gear videos in the past, so I have my loadout pretty much dialed in. Not much is going to be changing at this point. If you guys want to scroll back and find those for the full loadout I bring with me, they shouldn't be too hard to find. In this video, we're going to be talking about a little bit of tech because whether you're deep in the backcountry or prepping for a cross-country flight, or me, prepping for a cross-country flight to go deep into the backcountry, staying connected is no longer a luxury and can literally be a lifeline. Last season, I took my Starlink Standard with me on deployments to Oregon and California, and let me tell you, this thing got ran in the wind, rain, smoke, and of course, some excessive heat. I had it positioned on the ground, in the dirt, on the roofs of ambulances, on the roofs of UTVs, and on pickup trucks. Now, I certainly took care not to beat it up. It was definitely out there and continues to lock in a signal like a champ. I was able to make FaceTime calls to home and even upload content for the YouTube channel. It also wasn't just limited to me. On a wildfire, Starlink on your roof is like a magnet. Everyone spots it and wants to come over and get online so they can get some messages out to get back home, to wherever they're from in the country. In that sense, it's definitely a cool way to meet a bunch of people you are on the assignment with. And clearly, I like interacting with people and getting their stories. Now, one point of note here, depending on what your needs are or your resources are, if you're paying attention, when I'm deployed, I virtually always have a vehicle available to me. So the Starlink standards pool of 75 to 100 watts of power, it definitely sucks some juice, but let's be real. This is certainly an acceptable trade-off for the rock solid bandwidth you're getting. Now, speaking of the Starlink standard and the additional demands that were getting put on it from just other people wanting to jump on the network and borrow some internet, the Gen 3 Wi-Fi 6 router, I got nowhere close to this, but it is advertised that this could handle up to 235 simultaneous devices on the network and a Wi-Fi signal range of 3,200 square feet, and it holds an IP56 rating. Now, despite all of that good, here's my hang up with the Starlink standard antenna. I have yet to have a deployment that I could drive to, so I'm always jumping on a plane to head out west to go to work. Get this Starlink on a plane. You basically have to buy this thing its own seat. Dish itself is about 20 inches across, and the box that it ships in, I mean, this is massive. It's certainly not carry-on friendly. It's not even shove it under the seat in front of you friendly. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little obsessive over protecting my gear. So if you're like me, you'll need a dedicated case or a padded tote. And I used a Pelican style case to wheel mine around in. But again, look at this thing. Think of the size of that Pelican case that this was in. It was a little obsessive to be going around the airport with it. You know, the Starlink doesn't exactly fold or collapse or play nice with tight spaces. So this was a little ridiculous. It is just what it is. And so it's certainly not airliner friendly. Oh, and since it's life after 2008, don't forget about those added baggage fees. Now look, I love the Starlink standard. It is a beast when it is set up. But another thing about it is the fact that it isn't built in motion use. It's a fixed use dish that you'll need to stop, set up, and wait for it to connect. And before you head off the hill for the day, if you forget to stow it before moving, say goodbye to your signal and maybe even your dish. Ask me how I know. I mean, technically, yes. Again, it's a mobile dish in the same way that your refrigerator is mobile because it has wheels on it. So while technically mobile, practically, definitely not so much. So it just kind of boils down to the fact that it's an incredibly great device, but it's bulky, it's power hungry, and depending on your mission set, it's not exactly discreet. So, you know, if you're building a command post or staying put for a few days, it's absolutely perfect. But if you're like me and bouncing between fire zones and trying to pack as light as you can, well, here's where the Mini comes into light. When I saw the Mini hit the market, I was like, man, how is this thing even possible? Where is the router and how is this thing so small? So We kind of addressed it right off the bat with the standard, so let's start right from there with this. We'll talk about its form factor and portability. We kind of stressed the negative with the standard and the fact that size really matters. Size really matters. Size really matters. The Starlink Mini is about the size of a laptop and weighs just 2.6 pounds. It could definitely fit into a backpack, no problem. The thing with the standard dish is the fact that it's basically double the size and double the weight of this thing. So yeah, I would say that the Mini is absolutely carry-on friendly, even in a dedicated hard carrying case, even with a few accessories like the magnetic mount that I have on mine. I also mentioned before how the standard just basically gulps power, especially when you're putting it up against the Mini, which in comparison kind of like sips power. It's just 20 to 40 watts and can run off of a USB-C or a 12-volt car outlet. That's huge for any sort of off-grid setup you were looking to get this for, to incorporate it in. The standard, again, pulls 75 to 100 watts and needs AC power, so you'll need an inverter or a pretty beefy battery bank to run that thing. And for people like me in emergency response, or especially austere environment emergency response, or van lifers or overlanders, the Mini's flexibility should prove to be an absolute game changer. Now, what will be really interesting to see is the fact that it's these austere environments where the standard was basically designed to flex. It was claimed to deliver 220 Mbps on fixed plans with better performance than the Mini in bad weather. The Mini is advertised to be tapped out at around 100 Mbps, which still holds solid for video calls, streaming, and uploads, but it's really not ideal for heavy-duty work, and I'm curious to see how it holds up while I'm trying to do videos once deployed, especially with the predicted added loads of people wanting to jump onto the network. But we'll wait and see. Now, I did run speed tests when I was out using the standard last year, but I didn't document any of the data. I will definitely run some speed tests in various areas with this Mini and in any bad weather that we get, and document the findings to share with everyone. And speaking of the speeds and whatnot, let me get into the plans real quick. So with the standard, I had the unlimited roam plan, which was perfect for my needs. Now, the Mini is literally built for Starlink Roam, which is the service designed for travelers. It even supports in-motion use, so you can stay connected while driving or boating, which I'm definitely curious to see how it holds the signal, because we're always traveling through some incredibly steep and rugged mountain terrain. So I can't wait to see how this thing holds onto a signal through all of that. As far as the price for these things, the standard kit runs around $349, while the Mini is usually right around $400. Guys, let me know in the comments if you fly with the standard, if you fly with the Mini, if you're incorporating anything, what your speeds are like, if you have any cool accessories for them that are like, hey, you have to have this particular accessory, put all that in the comments, let us know. I'd love to hear what you're doing with yours and how it's working for you. So that's where we're going to end this for now, but the real story will start out in the field. We'll put the Starlink Mini through its paces at a wildfire deployment site out west somewhere soon, I'm sure. And with that, as always, be safe.